Hello, everyone, and welcome to another impactful episode number 49 with me. And I have a lovely, beautiful guest with me, Somdutta Sarkar, and we call her Som. Hi, Som, how are you?
Hi Amit, I am doing great and thank you for having me here. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, and it's my pleasure that you're on my show. Let me introduce Som. So, before that, let me make tell you that Som is my mentor. And living in debt is a challenge for all of us. I've been out of bankruptcy and I know how difficult and challenging world could be. From a debt of 25 lakhs and no future in sight, so managed to look within herself, found a mentor, and change her life 180 degrees to be where she is. She has helped several people to understand their full potential of their life, give them the success they deserve, and build their business around passion. She's also a best selling author of the book Seven Steps from Shame to Being Back in the Game. In her books, she pens down the steps that she took to change her life. And it's a fantastic read as well. She also has her own podcast, Intensify Humanity, where her guest comes from across the globe and shares their terrible situations in their lives and how they manage to come out of it. She also has her own magazine called as Intensify Life, where she brings people in yoga, health, drug abuse, and with a touch of food recipes and quiz. And that's not it. She also has her own website, somdattasarkar.com. With that, and with this amazing personality, let's welcome her back. Som, thank you once again. And let me start. There's so many things that I have to ask you, but for my viewers and for me as well, let me take you back years and years ago. Okay. And I have this bad habit. I always tell this that, I actually dig into the graves, and I'm sorry for that. But let's start like a decade ago. So, how was she? Who was she? And what was she about?
Thank you so much, Amit. That question is really interesting to begin with. If you say specifically around a decade ago, of course, this is definitely not the person who I was a decade ago. No awareness, uh, I would say full of ignorance about stuffs, which was actually not a good thing because since childhood we have been hearing the things ignorance is a bliss. But a decade ago, even I used to believe that thing. But then things started changing, happening, and everything. So that Som is definitely not the one you are seeing today. But I would definitely say that Som actually did some things in life which created to be, which made her to be the person who she is today. So,
Just searching my mute button. Wow. So let me dive a little more. Can you share what that Zoom was? I know it might not be a good. You might have to go back and remember that, but let's hear that. I want to know what that Zoom was.
what I remember, or in if just in few words, I have to say, absolutely. Um, as I said, no awareness. I would, in short, say dumb in many aspects of life, uh, in terms of just like um, a conditioned person. I would say a conditioned person, just like everybody else you see around, living around, and this and that. So yes, that kind of a person I was.
Wow, wow. And share if you could. What about these 25 lakhs of debt? I mean, what exactly happened? That's a huge amount of money.
So, yes, I absolutely agree. And I also wrote in my book as well. So, there were a series of events. Actually, I was in a job just like everybody else, 9 to 5. And as I said, I had a lot of patterns in life, and I was also dumb, especially ignorant in certain aspects of life, to be very honest. So, a series of events happened with known people, friends, or like friends, relatives, or whatever it is, trying to help on that aspect. So, the detailed story I've written in my book. But to share here, I would definitely like to say those series of events happened where some people asked help from me in terms of finances. And because I was in a company where it was easy to get loan because of the corporate job or the position, etc. So the story was created in such a way that I had to take a loan to help those people in certain aspects. And then what happened was the money was taken from the bank and the EMI was in my name. And once this happened, once I gave the money and few months went by, I saw that they are supposed to give me the money to pay the EMI. And I saw that it stopped. Few months went by and this happened, that happened, and finally I came to senses that it was definitely a fraud case. So then things started like a Hindi movie, and all those things happened. But long story short, those were the series of events which actually वो कहते हैं ना हिला दिया, like ऐसे life ने पकड़ के ऐसे हिला दिया कि what the hell are you doing with your life. So that thing happened, and after that I realized कि what are all the different areas I was so dumb, I was so ignorant about. I did not have awareness and nothing at all. But that definitely paved a way for me to learn such important lessons in life.
Wow. Wow. And I assume that these were your known people for whom you got the money for, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that hurts. That surely hurts. So tell me, how been your so you went ahead and helped people. What was your family's reaction?
Oh, nobody knew anything. That's
Oh,
a
wow.
twist. Yeah, I also wrote in my book as well. So nobody knew anything. Nobody.
Wow.
I was doing this all alone, and also because of the guilt and the shame, because on which I actually wrote my book as well. Of the fear, like what would people say? You are an educated girl. You are working here. This and that. How could you take such stupid decisions in your life? So nobody knew anything. So I was doing it all alone. Galti bhi main hi kar rahi hu, solution bhi main dhoond rahi hu, and everything. Of course, because I took the decisions, it is me who is going to rectify those things. So it was as simple as this. So there was no nobody knew about it.
Wow. Interesting. Very interesting. I can imagine. No, I completely, I think the point here is that, it is such a thing that, if you tell it to people, then they might be like, don't do this and all that. And you wanted to just help, probably. And, you didn't realize that it would turn out to be bad because you know them, right? So trust was there and eventually broken. So when was this? Which year was this around?
It was 2017, 18.
Okay, recently. It's fair
Yeah.
enough, recently. Right, wonderful. So, not wonderful, sorry. So,
No, it is wonderful. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been sitting here and having these
true.
discussions.
I think the next question that I have is like, so that happened, right? Now everything boiled down to you, right? What was your mental state when you got to know that okay, now that person is not going to give me any money? What was your mental state? Like, is it like I'm going to kill that person first thing, or what was it?
It was it was not a one night thing. It was a series of months, and the mental state was like a zombie, numb zombie pain and everything. And it was like every day, get ready, go to office, like everything is great in the world. Nobody knew, right? I have to do office, I have to do everything that is happening there. And at the back of the mind it's going key, what should I do, how to deal with this, etc., etc. So the mental state was definitely not good. And there was a time when I just felt like, you know, क्या कर दिया मैंने लाइफ का. So everything was over, everything, like I just hit the rock bottom. उससे नीचे और जा नहीं सकते. There was no place to go beyond that, towards the downside. So maybe it was a miracle or something that it hit me hard, that enough is enough. इसके नीचे तो जा नहीं सकते. So the only way I can move is upward, because there is no place to go downward. So that is how it started, shifting little, 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 and started thinking, doing, and all these things happened.
Wow, interesting, very interesting. And I also know that you're a traveler, right?
Yes.
So share that, because I'm just trying to connect the dots, and I'll come to that. But share your traveler life as well first.
That is one of my favorite topics. So I'm a solo traveler, and more rather, I would say it as an explorer. I started off the journey for two reasons. First, the burning desire to explore stuffs. Secondly, to actually see. So I have this thing in me that if somebody is saying something, I just don't believe that thing. I need to experience it at my own level. That is like experiential learning or experience, just my own level. So when the traveling part came, like, people used to say, oh, don't travel alone, you know it is not safe, especially for girls, and this and that. But when I used to search on the internet or something, I always used to see there are so many foreigners, especially, who travel alone, even in India, outside, anywhere. And I thought, why not? So when I started traveling alone, I met personally so many other solo travelers that my myth got already shattered. And the most important thing I learned through my traveling was all the fears, all the skepticism, all the negativity that we have got from media, people around us, the fears, etc., are all mostly incorrect. Because when you go to a different culture, different place, different people are there, but ultimately at the end of the day you realize that those people are just like you. I realized that person is just like me. The fear that that person have, I have the same fear. The thing that that person wants, I want the same thing. So everything is same. In fact, I found more people who are helping in nature, supportive, and amazing people in my journeys rather than in the known life. So, travel, like, my best form of learning came from traveling.
Awesome, awesome. And how long you've been traveling? So, like,
I
when
don't
did it start with?
remember right now, but yeah, definitely. It's been almost around 9 or 10 years, maybe now, as
Wow,
far as I remember, traveling
wow, a
alone.
decade. Wow, a decade of traveling alone. That too. Amazing. So, aren't your parents a little worried when you travel alone?
Um, Little, yes, they were. Of course, just like any other parents, call me when you reach there. Are you there? Phone kyun nahi lag raha hai? And this and that. Those things kept on happening. But ultimately, they understood that it's okay. Like, I can take care of myself. That is the thing.
Wonderful. Because the reason I'm asking is because there are a lot of people who watch my shows, and they come from different backgrounds, and sometimes you have to make them understand that it's we talk a lot about women empowerment on all those things, but my point is that there is no need for them to empower. They're already empowered. Okay, they can do a lot of things on their own, and that's where when my guest comes, I want to make sure that to tell everyone is that, hey, there are other people like you. Okay, just take the step, and if you think that's difficult, ping Som and she'll help you. Because that's what I do. It's like,
Yes,
you
thank
you don't
you.
have to listen to me. You can come and just ping my guest.
I agree to that point, because this is also what I have been, speaking about, that women don't need empowerment. I mean, men or women, they are already empowered in their own ways. There is no need of comparison, there is no needs of this rights, etc., whatever you call it, and there is no need of empowerment. When you work on the mindset of both men and women, everything is taken care of automatically. So it is more of an awareness and development rather than empowerment. So that is absolutely correct what you
That's
mentioned.
well said. That's very well said. It's more of the awareness than empowering them, and yeah, that's fantastic. So now, what I'm just trying to join the dots is now. So you hit rock bottom. You've been a traveler. You know unknown people. You talk to them, and you get familiarized, right? Now, once you hit the rock bottom, how did the new Som emerge? What was that time, that year or month, and how did it start? Because that's what we want to know.
Yeah, so year and time I don't remember, but I remember something. It was a very small incident. I also wrote it in my book, but it actually just hit me. I don't know how. That's why I call it maybe miracle, maybe something else. I don't know. So one night I was just sitting on my bed, and of course, there were many nights I could not sleep. So I was just staring outside my window, and I saw the moon, and it was a full moon. It was beautiful, actually. So when I saw the moon, see it every now and then. I love looking at it. But that night, I realized something that, see, even the most beautiful creation, as considered in the universe by people, it has scars. So how can my life also be smooth and simple and this and that? So that is something, it may make sense, may not make sense, but nothing. So two things I told you a few minutes back, right? I am already there, and there is no way to go here. There is only way to go upside. So that is one. And the second thing was this realization that there is nothing known as a clean slate. There is nothing known as, oh wow, my life is perfect, or perfectionism, or whatever it is. I am a person who does things right every time. So that kind of hit me, and my thoughts started to shift, my thinking pattern, my everything started to change from there, little, like a baby step.
Oh, that's pretty interesting, and I know, yeah, everyone does something or the other, right? Incorrect, and I know those. When you say perfectionist people, there, yeah, it's sort of a disease. Okay, let me put it that way. It's a very dangerous disease to carry on. But so, what happened? So, what was that incident in your life that made you change from that step, and then going forward from there?
So after that, I was actually looking for some kind of help or solution, or I don't know what I was looking for, but I was looking for some kind of solution. And it said, right, if you are a seeker, you get what you want. Like, you need to be a seeker rather than this thing. So maybe I was seeking for something, solution or way out of it, or whatever it is. And typically I was searching something on the internet again, like, exploring and think, what can I do, what can I not do, etc. I came across the word as Vipassana. So I saw that, and I think I heard this somewhere. What is it? Let me just check. And after staying for so long here, and on this planet and this and that, I found that time I clicked on the link, and I came to know there is something called as Vipassana, and they offer it at several centers in the world, and it is free of cost, and the rules are there. So, like, ek ke baad ek ke baad ek ke baad ek ke baad, layers were opening up, and without even thinking anything, I just went, I registered for it for 10 days. I went there, and that was one of the most amazing experiences till date I have. And after that, like, it impacted me in the most positive way. Once I came from there, I became more calm. I started thinking in a particular way and started looking for the solutions. So that actually shifted my life. Maybe it came at the right point of time. So, but that is something that actually changed.
So, could you just help me and the viewers tell what Vipassana is all about? I mean, just in your,
Yeah,
and
through
how
my
was the whole journey?
experience, yes. Through I can only share my experience because I am not an expert in this field. So Vipassana, I would say it's a practice, it's a science, it's a technology, whatever you call it. It's a method through which you get to learn. You not learn, I would say, you get the awareness, you get to realize yourself. Okay, when I say yourself, it is very difficult to put it in words. Like, for example, this 10-day vipassana is like you live the life of a monk, like no talking, no eye contact, of course no gadgets, writing materials, nothing that is of course there. Then you eat whatever is given to you in front of you. Then no dinner. Then 12 hours of meditation. Okay, 12 hours of practice. All these are part of the process. But what happens is there is something known as anapana. That is the beginning of the those 10-day session. And anapana is nothing but just focusing on the incoming and outgoing of breath. Like if nobody has done this till now, uh, people say, "Oh, I meditate for 1 or 2 hours," but dimag mein kuch aur hi chalta hoga. So anapana, what it does is it is like a cleansing process. I would say, just in my terms, okay. So what it does is once you start focusing on your breath in and out, you will see your monkey mind wanders here and there. So it takes 3 to 4 days to just do anapana, and they teach you that. And once you start grasping that, you will see that your mind has already calmed down. Your thoughts are going away. It is like you are actually started to cleanse off. And after that, the process of Vipassana starts. And that is the awareness of the every sensations in your body, every sensations, outside, inside, whatever it is, and not reacting or responding to the senses. Like let's say somewhere you are having an itching, you don't do anything, you don't itch, you don't get irritated, or you don't start liking it. What you do is you think yourself that you are seeing a movie. You separate yourself out and you are observing, oh, there is a sensation, something like itching is going on. And you just observe it, observe it, observe it. That's it. After a few seconds or few minutes, that is gone. So it's like the awareness of your sensations. And once you start doing it, it is in a very layman's term, if we put it across, people say that it is the detoxification of your mind and body in every way, in terms of thoughts, in terms of understanding whatever it is. It's the entire cleansing and detoxification. Like people go for detox diets, etc. You need to go for Vipassana every year to do this. So that is my personal experience. And I, like if I have to put it in words to just explain it simply, and it is amazing.
Well, I can just imagine, in this age where people are, their attention span is like seconds. There you leave them alone with themselves, which is the most dangerous person to leave them with themselves. And it's really amazing, and I think it's pretty tough. It's pretty tough because you have to deal with you, and you can't run away from that.
Yes, that's a most interesting part. The line that you said, it's pretty tough and you have to deal with you. Yes, people try to run away from the center in the third and fourth day, and they are hauled back and taken to the place because they are not just imagine the condition what we have created for us. We can't be with our own self. I mean, what can be the disastrous thing rather than this? I mean, if you can't be with yourself, how can you be with somebody
I,
else? That's the
I
most
agree,
interesting part.
and I'm sure, you know, I don't think I can survive more than 15 minutes either.
No, many people think this, but in the environment, you actually, if you want, you can be there. It's nothing, not impossible thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, but that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that, because you go on Google and you can get an information, but hearing a person who has gone through it, is always a different experience than what the standard words and statements say, right? So it really helps, gives a new perspective. And also that you can do it, because like let's face it that you had a very challenging situation in your life. There's a lot of things going on, and you managed to take care of your life, and you took that step. So you did that. And I have a couple of comments here, and I'm sorry. So first one came from Priya. Actually, she says, "Hey Amit, hi Priya." So Priya is one of the PMI chapter heads. And second is Vijay. He says, "Thanks for sharing your experiences, ma'am."
Welcome,
Fantastic.
Vijay.
Awesome. So now let's move to the step two. So now you got to know who Som is from within, and a better version already. What was the next thing that you did?
Next thing again, I went back to Google Baba and I started looking for things because I keep on researching things, this and that. But that time, as I told you, I was not looking for specific thing or any particular thing, but I was just trying to find some solution. Kuch bhi mil jaye, वैसा type का. So I got Vipassana. And then one day I just had an account naam ke vaste, and I stumbled upon on a LinkedIn post. And in the post it said, quit 9 to 5 and build business around passion. And that is something which again caught my attention, because of course my salary was less than the EMI amount, and I was already like, I was not able to continue with the job. Matlab, it was like it has crossed all the levels. So I was looking for some kind of solution, way out, what I can do, what I cannot do, what I can build, not build. I don't know. So I came across that post and I registered for the webinar, and it was a whole day webinar, morning till night. And it was a monsoon season, and my laptop was broken from the hinge, half broken. And I was supposed to take that laptop to the repair shop that night. But the webinar is continuing, it went on till night. And I realized that, yes, I need to learn from this person. He can help me. And when I when the webinar ended, there was an offer to join the mentorship program. And the mentorship program was in lakhs. Again, that night itself, I in my mind it is like I was glued to the webinar. Okay, at the back of my mind I was like, I have to come out from the existing place where I would call it like the graveyard that I was. And at the end of that night, at that moment, I got a light at the end of a tunnel. This could be something. Okay, so I had two options in front of me. One was just telling me, like, we all have two voices in our head always, so those two voices were already fighting within me. So the first voice told me, don't go for this, don't do anything, just come out of the mess you are in, then think of doing something new in life. Second voice told me, are you kidding me? You are already here, you tried everything, nothing is working, and you have no way out. You are already in debt. If you can arrange money and something happens positive in your life, not, you can always get back the money, but ask yourself, can you get back the time you have already spent months and years wasting it? Can you waste more time? And that second voice that gave me another kick. And I called a few friends and people, mostly friends, and I arranged some money from there, few thousand here and there. And that night I paid for the mentorship program, and that is the Passionpreneur Mastermind program. And of course, I got my first mentor, Dev, over there. So that is how, that was the step two. I found the mentor and I understood ki there are things that I don't know that I don't know. And then I realized, okay, kuch bhi hua hai, whatever happened, at least this time, after such a long time, I took one decision that is right. Aage kya hoga mujhe nahi pata, but at least I took a right decision. So that is how it happened.
Wow. And I think you being into the traveler zone and you have this thought of meeting unknown people, and there's always a certain level of trust, right? Now after listening to Dave probably for more than 8 hours, and based on your current situation, more importantly after your Vipassana as well, you had a more clarity of your own life. And since you had this thought of trusting unknown people in a certain manner, of course judging them and going through it, I think that night would have put that one step forward, that okay, yeah, you can trust. There's a gut feel or instinct that is there inside probably.
Yeah, so just like you mentioned, trust, honestly, I don't know if I now look back. Clarity, trust, yes, was there. Clarity, absolutely no. I did not know ki if I'm giving this money here, what am I going to get? Yeah, who am I going to become? Kya hone wala hai mere life ka? I did not know. But I just had one thing. I understood one thing after listening to him the entire day. That is, one thing was sure, the kind of things he shared was so authentic and transparent, just like you mentioned, right? It made me realize, or there might be a connection that told me something. Yeah, I can trust this. I can trust him. I can trust this process. I can, let's see what happens. So that is how I took my leap of faith, I would say. And that is how I started off.
Wonderful. And I assume that that leap of faith has given you a huge change in life, right?
Complete turnaround.
So now let's see the part two of Som. So now you joined that, and I'm sure you learned a lot of things and you started on. So what was your, like, how did you manage to get your, podcast and magazine out? And what was the core reason to do that as well?
Right, that's a great question. So, yeah, I started off doing lots of webinars, seminars, physical workshops, and whatnot from the beginning, and did it in many places for different kinds of people from various backgrounds. Started coaching people in my Intensify Life mastermind, one-on-one group coaching. All these things started, and then I had this thing of, I heard it from few people as well. You are very good in asking questions, asking questions. Okay, that was a common pattern I used to get, even in testimonials, even in this, that, whatever it is. So, and I also got to know ki you have a good voice. So what I did was, okay, let me just start interviewing people. So I started off with a podcast, and like I would say, I am fortunate enough, or I am grateful enough that I have not even reached maybe 60 episodes or 100 episodes of my podcast, but uh, I'm grateful enough to interview some of the global leaders from India and abroad who are making a mark in the world in their own domains, like from Bollywood to London, this thing, NGOs se leke everything. So I was fortunate enough to do that. People like Jaswinder Sanghera, who has been working on Karma Nirvana. Because of her, there was a change in one of the law or something like that in the London, for women, for domestic abuse and all these things. She has been doing it for 25 years. She was there. Then, of course, Dave, Ron, my mentors were there. Muhammad Rafi was there, who's the NLP, master trainer. Avinash, then James Guilford, Mark Metry, then Ishita Moitra, the famous, renowned script writer of Bollywood, who has written movies like Shakuntala Devi, then four more shots of what Prime, Amazon Prime, then Muska of Netflix, and Anam Hashim, who is the India's first female stunt professional athlete. So she, Pravina Vasant, one of the foremost, I would say, pioneer in the bullet riding. She was also awarded by the Himachal Pradesh government. Aruna Lingam, who is the co-founder of Bamboo House India, wife of Prashant Lingam, who is working with the UN, the Kenya government, and all these people. So it has been an amazing experience interviewing people in my podcast and of various backgrounds, various experiences. It was just amazing. That is how the podcast started, and that is how, doing more and more. And why? Because somewhere I felt that when you listen to their stories, you will realize what kind of challenges these people have faced. I mean, tremendous. Like Jaswinder Sanghera, she was the victim herself of domestic violence, honor killing, and those kind of stuffs. So, but what did they do? They turned around their life, and not just contributing or doing things. They are actually making a mark in their respective domains in the industry. Dipesh Tank, who is the founder of the railway rowdies, or who actually catches the molesters on the Mumbai locals, and he has been doing it for so many years, and he has been acknowledged under so many banners, etc. He and so many other people. So when you learn from them, when you get to know them personal level and professionally, you see that I realize personally that I have not done much in life, and there is so many things to learn from each person out there, and they are impacting others' life in their own manner. So that was amazing. And second thing, how did the magazine come into picture? It was another feeling and an idea and something I wanted to do, because I realized, yes, there are many podcasts, there are many programs, there are websites, many things are amazing there. But in India, yes, there are amazing magazines. But when it comes to the self development magazine, there is no as such amazing magazine that one person can follow. What I have seen is there are business magazines, there are lifestyle magazines, there are fashion magazines, and yes, there are self development magazine, but actually nobody knows about it. Very few people know. So why lifestyle has to be separate from self development? Is your food, everyday life, your habits, everything is not a part of your development process? How is it separate? So what I thought, ki there is a gap area, and there are people wanting to learn, wanting to know, and they have things to share, but they don't have a platform to share. So this is where Intensify Life magazine, through this I've written for you and by you. So there are so many people who are contributing their stories in terms of health and wellness, lifestyle, self development, business aspect, especially for the new entrepreneurs, or growth, etc., mental health, right? So all these verticals, all these aspects are there, because when we talk about self development, it constitutes every pillar. You cannot separate out health and fitness alag hoga, self development alag hoga, lifestyle alag hoga, chalo fashion bhi alag hoga. No, you can't separate it out, because everything comes under one, because you are one person. So that's how it started off. And the next month my fifth edition is going to come. It was just a testing project I started off, but I'm seeing the love of people and their contribution. So of course, more and more people contribute, so I'm taking it to the next level of creating a website for this, which is under progress.
Wow, wow, that's interesting. And amazing people who have been on your show. That's really, really amazing. I mean, I'm like, wow, that's really nice. And it's very proud. I'm very proud to say that I've got my mentee with me on my show now. Sorry, mentor with me on my show.
Yes, I am
I'm very
actually
happy
glad
do
to be
that.
here. Yeah, I'm
So
glad to be
now,
here.
you're a TEDx speaker, right? You're the first speaker on my guest list who's been on TEDx. All right. Now, that's a huge, huge thing. Okay. Because TEDx is an epitome of communication and speeches. That's where people go and listen to these amazing personalities talking about some amazing talks and influencing God knows how many people across the globe now. Share that. How did you, I mean, not just how, basically, what was the TEDx? What was your topic? And how was your feeling?
That was another experience, and thank you for asking. So TEDx, of course, I wanted to share something that out of my, of course, own experience and an idea. Basically, if a person can understand the idea what I was sharing, it can actually change the life. So the topic of my TEDx was choose your problems to choose the life you want. Choose your problems to choose the life you want. Generally what happened, बचपन से हमें सिखाया गया है प्रॉब्लम से दूर रहो. Don't take problems in your life. Don't choose to dur ki baat hai. Don't even
Hmm.
get into problems.
True,
But
true.
here, yeah, so I shared some experiences and how it actually shaped my life based on this idea, and how I design my lives by choosing the problems. So if people who are listening to this, if you go to my TEDx speech and hear this, you will listen specifically. The starting point itself is the time of demonetization, where I chose a problem to actually gain an experience in life and how I shaped from it. So that's the reason I took that topic.
Wow, very, very interesting. And I certainly agree that no one would generally think on that point, is that choosing a problem, that first statement itself is like, oh, dur bhag jao types, problem se dur bhago. So how was your experience? I mean, it would have been, you share it. Yeah. How was your experience?
So experience was, I would say I was nervous. My first ever TEDx speech, and given the situation that is there nowadays, TEDx is happening virtual. So mine was virtual, and it was amazing. Why? Because the other speakers who were there, right? Those were themselves inspiration. Like those people were there. There was this 14-year-old girl was also there, who was also a TEDx speaker, and listening to them was amazing. And the students who actually organized this, they were also really supportive, helpful, and they also took care of each and every speaker. And the experience was as such because it was happening live, and there were hundreds of people who were listening to it. And of course it was like, for me, in my mind, it's like just one shot I have, that's it, because it's happening live and there is no retake over here. That is there, plus the topic I chose. And yeah, that was like, if I just have to put it in words, it was a memorable experience. And maybe when things get normal or things open up or something, I would also try for physical TEDx speech rather than virtual. But let's see when that happens. You're on mute.
I always do that. For the viewers, the link is there, but also it's going to be in all the chats as well for all the three platforms. So make sure to click on it and watch the TEDx. Okay. And there is one comment from Vijay. Daily, I allot 5 minutes to learn from ma'am's videos. Apart, I follow Dave sir, Fattah Khan sir, Mehul sir, Shifu Danlock, who are really inspiring. Amazing.
That's so great to know, Vijay. Thank you
That is
so much for sharing that.
fantastic, fantastic. And that's the whole beauty of it, because you find, we always have this thought, just I wanted to share with you and others, is that, we always see people in, books and movies and so on and so forth. But we forget that, there are lots and lots of wonderful people like you who are there, who can guide and help, and that's one of the core reasons, I want to make sure that at least from Stories That Impact perspective, is that, I want to showcase stories of all of you, so that, people can know that, okay, there is somebody who has gone through let me put it a little hell, and she came out of it. Okay. And how you can do that as well. You don't have to break down. Of course, there will be a breakdown, but there are people who can even help you. So if you feel that your story relates to Som, you're in a difficult situation, and I'm sure if you ping her, she's gonna be nice enough to respond back and get you out of it. So now let's move on to next. I'm still not done. And then probably this is my second last question. Sorry, so to hold you.
That's okay. But yeah, definitely. I love the title of your show, Stories That Impact. I don't know if impact I can create something, because when I look back now, I realize that uh, मेरा problem शायद इतना कुछ था नहीं, because when I listen to other people's issues and the kind of situations they have been or going through, it is worse. So I feel
Uh,
grateful for that. But yeah, you are also impacting in your own way, bringing people in your show and sharing the stories. That actually helps.
Thank you very much. But let me tell you this, your story is very impactful. See, because going through a death when you are in a bad situation and when you can't talk to people, I know for a fact there are many people who
Yes.
go into a very wrong direction in their life. All right, very wrong directions, and that just creates a havoc in their life. So
And
if somebody, yeah.
that line that you shared, that there are so many people going through similar, when I was about to come out with my book, 7 Steps from Shame to Being Back in the Game, I was very hesitant. When people read it, they will judge, kya फालतू का decision लिया था and whatever it is. So I was very hesitant to come out with the book. But once the book came out, just like you mentioned, the last line, there are so many people actually who messaged me and shared, I am going through a similar situation, thank you so much, now I know what to do. So, in the minuscule level, if you term it as an impact, or if I think that, one single impact can create a ripple effect, and that is what I call as intensify life. So, yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So there you go. We relate in a certain manner in that case as well. Fantastic. So let me ask you this question. So now, so what all do you do these days? I mean, if someone has to connect with you, so what all they will connect you with, of course, you're going to help them. And what all ways do you help them? If someone comes to you seeking some help and guidance, what all ways do you help them?
So, the first and foremost, which is available to everyone for free, is you can check all my posts, articles, every content out there in all the platforms. So you can learn from there anytime, anywhere, free of cost. That there is nothing there. So I give lot of values for free on all the platforms. YouTube, the videos are there. Okay. My podcast is there, Intensify Humanity. You can learn from there, not just from me, from other people as well directly. Next thing is definitely my book is there. So it is available in the Kindle format, in the hard copy, whichever you feel like. But when a person actually reads from a book, like that is just my personal thing. Because when I read a book, the kind of impact I have based on what that person has written from his or her own experience, that creates a huge impact on me positively. So, if you have not read my book, I would suggest that that is the next level. You go and read my book. That is another form of learning. Next is, of course, through the coaching and consulting. I am coaching and mentoring with my mentor. Amit is also part of it with my mentor. You can see the photo out there with Dev in Passionpreneur Mastermind, right? And apart from that, I have Intensify Life Mastermind, where I individually coach people on one based on the results coaching, based on what kind of result that they are looking for. It could be a coaching based on where you are, okay, or it could be a consulting call. Maybe you don't need a coaching from me that time. So it depends on what kind of solution will help you for that point of time. So that is more of one-on-one call. Group sessions are there, but I am focusing more on the passionpreneur group and the individual one-on-one calls over there. And in Intensify Life Mastermind, it's mostly the one-on-one coaching calls. So that is how it is there. And of course, uh, I'm writing my second book, and once it comes out, so that can also be another source of learning where people can get help from.
Amazing, amazing. And just for the viewers, again, it will be on all the chats, but I'm just showing it here. That's the link for the podcast. So make sure that, and it's very simple. Just go to somdattasarkar.com and
Yes, just a
intensify.
disclaimer. The website is under construction. This is the old website, so my website will come live by next month. So Intensify Life, we can also give the SoundCloud link, etc., which will be
Okay,
there after some time. Don't worry.
sure.
Yeah,
And the book name is Seven
seven
Steps from
steps.
Shame to Being Back in the Game.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the link. And I'll, of course, share the links on the chat as well. All right. I'll just make sure that I reconfirm with Som that, they are the working links
Yes.
as well. Now, so moving on to the last question. And this is one generic question that I asked all my guests. And it, of course, relates to my show. Is the question is that, do you think that sharing stories can impact people's life?
Absolutely. There is no second answer to it.
True, true. And so, do you have any last words that you want to share with the group here? And for
Yeah.
those who will watch the recordings,
Yeah. So before this, stories that impact that question, I have just one more thing to add. Uh,
please.
when people listen to stories, it is not just coming from, let's say, coming from us sharing the stories. The viewers and the listeners are also watching and listening. It depends on how you, the listeners and viewers, take things from that story and implement in your life. Otherwise, that impact won't be there. So it's not just listening and watching things, right? It depends on what is that. Even you don't have to do everything that the person is doing. You just take one thing from that story that you can apply in your life, and you will get some kind of or the other positive result. You never know. So that is only one thing what that I wanted to share.
That's really important, and nobody has mentioned that in this way that hey, you're listening to it, but just don't listen, go and act. Okay, so nobody till date has in fact made this, and it's really really true. I completely agree. It's just not about listening to some story and not probably acting on it, because then it would be like a, how should I put it, it would be like a beautiful song, and then you're like, okay, I felt nice, but then you just leave it. So please don't do that. Pick up something like she said, and you can start one thing. I think Vipassana would be really interesting to
Yeah,
pick
so
up.
just like for you it would be something else, for somebody else it would be something else, but when the impact actually impacts, the thing actually impacts when you actually take one thing which makes sense to you and then apply it. Otherwise, then the story will just be a story, and stories that impact will only happen with you, the listeners and the viewers.
Fantastic, friend. I'm not going to say anything because I want to let that cachet be there with the viewers. Vijay has one more point here. Everyone is having their unique story. People shall realize that.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely.
True. All right. With that, so we come to the end of our show. And thank you once again for taking time out and blessing my show with all your presence and beauty and the loads of knowledge that you shared. I'm going to have a lot of snippets that I'm going to create out of this video as well. Uh, and to all the lovely viewers who are watching live, thank you very much. And to all the ones who are going to watch it in the recording session, if you want to connect with Som, the links are there on all the three platforms, that is LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Just click on it, subscribe to her, join her group, the community, and make yourself from your level to the next level as well. And if you want to come to my show and impact the way Som did, please ping me and I will connect with you. With that, Som, any last words for the
Yes,
show?
absolutely. I loved being here. Amit, you are doing it in a fantastic manner, and you are bringing people from different domains, places, everywhere, and you are creating an impact through the bringing out stories, asking the questions, and doing a great job. So, thank you for having me, and continue doing what you are doing. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And Please make sure, if you're in Melbourne, it's locked down. Do not step out unnecessarily. If you're in India, make sure to take care of yourself, wear your mask, and don't step out if you don't have to. All right. Until then, take care. God bless everyone. Thank you very much, Som, and God bless you as well. Bye bye.